Hi, it's Randy Kirk, and here I am again with another raw video. There will be some edited videos that will be coming out this week. I hope you like them just as well. Have excellent content, and I highly recommend that you watch them. I would also, of course, love for you to subscribe and to like these videos. You may also want to become part of my Patreon group. That information will all be down below. So let's dive right into what I consider right now to be a revelation. I was, last night, I couldn't sleep. I was just tossing and turning over what I think is some very shocking, maybe not, maybe this is something you guys have already figured out, and maybe there's other people talking about this. If so, I have no idea who they are. What I'm going to talk about today is, I'm going to talk about Master Plan 3. And let me say right off the bat, I have a real clear thinking about what Master Plan 3 might look like. And it is not exactly the same as my friend, Brian Wong, who is also a contributor to the book, The Elon Musk Mission, which you should buy. He has a different idea of what Master Plan 3 is going to look like. And to be honest, he might be right. And I might be right. And we might both be right. There is room for both of us to be right on Master Plan 3, but he has a very unique take on it. And I would highly recommend that you go over to his Next Big Future channel and check out what he's saying about Master Plan 3. I think he's got some pretty exciting ideas. So what do I think is going to happen with Master Plan 3? Everything except there's two pieces of speculation in what I'm going to say. And the rest of it is based on 5 or 6 statements by Elon Musk that I don't think can be confusing. I think these are very specific, straightforward statements that he has already made that refer to Master Plan 3. I think it's just a matter of kind of putting them all together and saying, okay, here's how that's all going to come together. So let's see what you think. Please don't hesitate to comment. I've loved your comments. You can tell I've not only been reading them all, I've been answering almost all of them. If you send me stupid stuff, I'm not going to respond to it. There's been a few of them that just are ridiculous. But if you send me thoughtful comments and thoughtful ideas, and you want to contradict me and pick a fight, I am ready to dialogue and have some fun trying to ferret all this out. So let's take a look at this theory. Let's see what I think. Okay, so number one, he has stated that Master Plan 3 is going to be about extreme ramping. This is not speculating about this. He has said it's going to be about extreme ramping. And when he said it, I'm sure that you, if you've heard this, like I, thought, okay, extreme ramping, that means that he's going to go out there and find those mines and find people to sell them raw materials and find refineries that can handle all this new mining that's going to take place, and find new chemistries and find new factories, all the kinds of things that you would think. And I'm sure that is exactly what he's going to talk to us about in Master Plan 3. However, if you put it together with some other statements, I think we can kind of maybe have our minds blown about what is going to actually happen in what I am looking at is the next 4 years, 23, maybe count it 5 years, 23 to 27. And that's the period of time I'm going to be looking at today. I think this is when the extreme ramp is going to take place. That doesn't mean that there won't continue to be ramping and increases in total revenues and in total profits after 2027 or 2028. But I think that the big ramp, the huge Master Plan 3 ramp, is going to take place during those years. So that's number one statement, is if you're not going to call Master Plan 3 an extreme ramp unless it's going to be a faster ramp than what we've seen so far. So that's my, now you can call that a little bit of speculation, but what does extreme ramp mean unless it's extreme? So I don't think my numbers will be too crazy, but I'll leave you to be the judge and to comment below. So let's take a look at it. So number two, he has stated that his factories are the product. Now, this is a famous statement. We all know he's made the statement. The factories are the product. And so therefore, I'm looking at where we currently stand. We have created the prototypes for the car factories. We're in the process of creating a prototype for the Cybertruck factory. We have the prototype for the semi-truck factory. We have prototypes for the Megapack factory. We have prototypes for making power walls, for making chargers. We have for battery lines. All of the kinds of things that we need to make this happen, there are now prototypes. So as a factory guy myself for 28 years, I was a plastics manufacturer. As a manufacturer, if I am going to create the prototype products, I never saw my factory as a product, but if I was going to make prototype products, then I was going to ramp those products up. I was going to make more of them. So I, again, have to assume that that's what he means, is I now have a product and I am going to reproduce that product and make more of them. So what does that mean? Okay, so let's start with cars. Okay, let's start with cars. So my estimates, they don't have to be your estimates. You've heard me say this before, maybe, if you've been watching my videos or following me on Twitter. I certainly have talked about this a lot. I think everybody's way off in the number of cars that'll be made next year. I'm suggesting 2.65 million. The street is saying anywhere from 1.9 to 2.1 million. Some pundits are saying 2.2, 2.4. There's almost nobody above 2.4. You can watch other of my videos or look at my tweets and you'll see how I arrive at 2.65. I find it very hard to come in much less than 2.5. So let's take 2.5 for next year. Now that's a lot higher rate of increase than 50% a year, going from this year's approximately 1.4 to 2.5 next year is a lot more. Even 2.4 would be a lot more than a 50% ramp. So that would mean, of course, that in 2024, we might expect less than a 50% ramp, except we know that the new robotaxi platform and or $30,000 car is slated to start production in 2024. We also know that that will be the first year of a full ramp of the Cybertruck. We also know that at this point, both Berlin and Austin will be fully ramped up to make Model Ys. So I don't think we're going to see a less than 50% increase in 2024. So that would take us, let's say, I'm going to say 1 million additional. So we'll go from 2.5, I'm sorry, I'm going to say a 50% increase. So that would take us from 2.4 or 2.5 to something around 3.6, 3.75, somewhere around that neighborhood. Now then, in the next year, in 2025, we've got to be seeing the full-on ramp of the inexpensive car. We know that Elon expects that to be by far the largest quantity of cars, of any car that they're going to make. So once again, I don't see any less than a 50% ramp. So now we'll be going from 3.6, 3.7, 50% of that is going to take us up into the 5 million range. So now we're at 5 million. For 2026, we would be in the 7.5, 8 million range. And then in 2027, we will see the end of the ice age. We will see no car companies making internal combustion engines anymore in 2027. And Tesla will be making, I think, on around 12 million vehicles that year. Well, in order to get to 12 million vehicles from the current run rate of 2 million, you need quite a few factories. So, and in order to get, in order to start making the $30,000 car in 2024, you need to break ground now. Now, it may be that that land that's being cleared in Berlin is for that. It may be that the extension of some of the factories in Shanghai, which seem to be about ready to happen, maybe those are both going to be for the less expensive vehicle. Maybe there will be that plant in Mexico that they're talking about that might be announced in a couple of weeks. But there's going to have to be 2 or 3 announcements of additional factory capacity. And that's what Elon said earlier this year. He said by the end of the year, I'm guessing that as it's now, the 19th, that it's not going to be the end of this year, but maybe it will still be the end of this year. But early in the next year, I think we're going to see at least one announcement of groundbreaking, and then maybe additional announcements at the earnings call. But very early in 2023, we're going to need to see several announcements of capacity, manufacturing capacity for these various vehicles that have already been talked about. It's not a question anymore. These are supposed to happen. So these are multiple factories, and those factories are not going to be able to operate without batteries, and there's not, if you're making that many cars, you're going to need chargers. So we'll talk about that more in a minute in terms of what that means for the ramp. So the car side of it, that's kind of got the car side of it. Now let's talk about the energy side of it. You've probably seen my videos a couple of days ago. If you haven't, you definitely want to go back and watch the videos on energy. And so on the energy side of it, he said that eventually energy will be, again, Elon Musk said, that Tesla's manufacturing capacity and their revenues for batteries will eventually be as large as cars. I think everybody looked at that as being a 2030 goal. I'm now saying that by 2026, 2027, I think that's going to be the goal. Now, how do I come to that? Well, that's because just a few weeks ago, Elon Musk said on the manufacturer of batteries by Tesla, it will be pedal to the metal to get to 1 terawatt in North America. Now, that is completely different than the original idea that maybe Tesla as a company totally will be doing 1 terawatt of manufactured batteries by 2030, and they would be buying 2 terawatts from others. That is the speculation that everybody has felt. I know some have said, well, maybe they would make 2 and buy 1, but that's by 2030. I think it's all changed with the Inflation Reduction Act, and now we're looking at a full terawatt needed to be made by Tesla in North America, and I'm saying that's going to be by 2027, because that would be pedal to the metal. If it was going to be by 2030, that wouldn't be any change in philosophy. But the fact of the capability to get those government credits, those incentives, makes Elon feel like, okay, we need to just go out there and we need to really get the energy side of the business up, as well as the battery manufacturing, which is needed for the cars, as well as for the battery storage. So what would getting to 1 terawatt look like between now and 2027? Well, roughly, you'd have to build 25 or so of the Lathrop size facilities. Now, maybe future facilities won't be the size of Lathrop, which is going to do 40 gigawatt hours. Maybe they'll be double that size or 4 times that size, who knows? But they've built this 40 gigawatt size factory. And if the factory is the product, it may be that Elon's thinking is that he'll just cookie cutter these because he'd like to put them in lots of places. So maybe 4 or 5 or 6 in North America, 3 in Europe, 4 or 5 in China, some in Indonesia or Pakistan or Japan, South Korea, Australia, South America. I mean, there could be, 3 here, 5 here, but we need 25 or so of these energy facilities in order to justify or to meet this 1 terawatt goal, because he's also going to be buying 1 or 2 terawatts from others during this same period. So that means announcements soon. Lathrop, we believe, is currently already producing. So they should be ready to say, okay, we need to start making more of these factories. So shortly, sometime, again, probably in the first quarter, we should hear about possibly other factories to make the Megapacks, Powerwalls, etc. Okay, so that's on the energy side. Now, you also need to have the batteries. Well, if you're going to get to 1 terawatt, it's pretty easy. You got the line in Austin does 100 gigawatts. So therefore, you're going to need 10 of those. You're going to need 10 lines. Now, does that mean 10 lines in Austin? Maybe. Maybe all of them will be in Austin. Maybe they'll all be, sitting right next to the lines that are currently, the line that's currently being built up and ramped. Maybe it will be a line in Canada, another line in Eastern United States. Who knows? I don't know. But one way or the other, if you want to get to 1 terawatt, you've got to do 10 times the volume that this current facility is set up to do in Austin. So where will those facilities be? What will be the timing? And my guess is they won't all be the basic lithium with nickel chemistry. They may not even all be 4680s. Maybe some of them will be other form factors, and maybe some of them will be in various chemistries, including sodium, which has become the hot tip all of a sudden just the last few weeks. Seems like a very strong possibility that a lot of batteries in the future from CATL in particular are going to be sodium. And I'm guessing that Tesla would be following along in that direction potentially. Okay, so that's what's going to happen with batteries. You need a lot of batteries to meet the goal of 1 terawatt hour in North America. Okay, so so the next one after that is you need a ton of superchargers and megachargers. Superchargers for cars and light trucks, and you need the megachargers for the semis, and also as a possible place for the Cybertrucks to go as well. So you need a lot of those. Well, they've already announced a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago, that the plan was to triple current production of superchargers. And now I'm thinking you need to triple the superchargers, but also start making a lot of megachargers. And then I think it's only going to be a year or two before maybe you need to triple again, because of the ramp is so dramatic in terms of the cars that Tesla's making. But if I'm right, and again, you can see other places where I've made this statement, and I think I'll do another video on this later this week. I believe that Tesla will only be making about 12 million, 14 million cars in 2027. That's going to mean we need about 50 million cars from other people. Okay, so if you're going to end the ice age, you're going to need at least around 60-something million. I know people talk about 80, but I think in the transition, there might be a year, let's say 2026, 27, where the total is closer to 65 or something million. And then maybe the next year it's 75, and next year it's 80, et cetera. Well, depending on how the demand looks. So you're going to need a lot of chargers. Now, the Biden administration has put through this IRA, this Inflation Reduction Act, which partially is designed to build a lot more chargers. But we've seen what the other chargers look like. They're not very good. So unless some people start making some much better chargers, I would anticipate that Tesla will take advantage and they will build huge numbers of chargers and start putting those up all around the country. So that requires some more factories. Okay, but they've got the factories. It's just a matter of making more factories like that. Okay, what else do we need? So let's see, I'm trying to, let's see. So that, I think we're getting close to the end here. So all in all, if we're looking at 2026 as this year when Tesla will make 12 million cars, let's say they average $40,000 each, that's going to give them almost $500 billion in revenues from just cars. Then if they do a terawatt of energy, that terawatt of energy is storage. The terawatt of energy storage just in North America is going to be, that's the terawatt of energy storage across the world. That's going to be another $500 billion, maybe $600 billion in revenue. Then in addition to that, you're going to have all the revenue from full self-driving, whatever that looks like at that time. And then the last one, which is kind of what a little hint as to where Brian Wong is going, is then you're going to have a separate revenue stream from the semi trucks. And I would say that I go along with Brian that maybe the ramp by 2026 will be about 1 million semi-trucks a year. And if they're doing 1 million semi-trucks a year at $400,000 each, which is my number, I believe it's makeable with full margins, that would give us another $400 billion in sales. So you start adding that up, you're looking at $1.5 trillion in sales. That would now take into consideration Elon Musk's other comment, where he said, I now see a path to where we can be larger than Apple and Saudi Aramco combined in terms of market cap, in terms of profits. So that's how we'd get there. So I hope you've noticed here that I've stayed true to my word. I have speculated a couple of times. Most of the time, I'm just taking Elon Musk's specific words and passing them along to you. If you like this video, please please subscribe. Patreon, you can find the information below if you'd like to be part of that. We've got special stuff there for Patreon members. I've really enjoyed doing these last few videos. I hope that you're enjoying them as well. Have a great day.